In the world of American coinage, few coins have sparked as much intrigue, historical significance, and collector curiosity as the 1965 Washington quarter dollar. At first glance, it might look like just another quarter in your pocket change, but don't be fooled. This coin represents a dramatic turning point in U.S. mint history, a reaction to a national crisis, and the dawn of a new era in American currency. If you've ever wondered what makes a simple 25-cent coin so important, this is the story you've been waiting for. The Washington quarter itself dates back to 1932. It was originally designed to commemorate the 200th birthday of the first President of the United States, George Washington. The design, created by John Flanagan, became iconic. His profile of Washington facing left, with the word liberty above and in God we trust on the left, became embedded in the minds of Americans. On the reverse, the eagle perched on a bundle of arrows, surrounded by olive branches, symbolized both strength and peace, the American spirit. But what happened in 1965 changed everything. Before 1965, quarters were made of 90% silver and 10% copper. These silver quarters had intrinsic value. The metal inside them was worth something, sometimes even more than the coin's face value. But by the early 1960s, a financial storm was brewing. The price of silver was rising fast, and the cost of producing coins with precious metal had begun to outweigh the face value. People weren't just spending quarters anymore. They were hoarding them, melting them down, and selling the silver. The U.S. was facing a coin shortage. Enter the Coinage Act of 1965. Signed into law on July 23, 1965, by President Lyndon B. Johnson, the Coinage Act marked a major shift in American numismatics. It eliminated silver from circulating dimes and quarters entirely. From that moment forward, the Washington quarter would be made from a copper-nickel clad composition, a pure copper core, sandwiched between two outer layers of 75% copper and 25% nickel. This was the birth of the modern quarter, and the end of an era. The 1965 quarter became the very first clad quarter in U.S. history. And because of this, it has a special place in coin collecting. Not only was it the first of its kind, but it was produced under intense secrecy and urgency. The U.S. Mint was under pressure to get these new coins into circulation as quickly as possible. Millions of Americans were hoarding coins, and the government needed a solution, fast. Production of the 1965 quarters began even before the Coinage Act was officially signed. To avoid more hoarding, the Mint chose not to include mint marks on coins from 1965 through 1967. This means that no matter where a 1965 quarter was made, whether it was the Philadelphia Mint, the Denver Mint, or the San Francisco Mint, it carries no distinguishing mint mark. This decision made it harder for collectors to hoard coins based on where they were struck, a strategic move to keep coins in circulation. Now let's talk about numbers. How many of these coins were actually made? In 1965 alone, the U.S. Mint produced an astonishing 1.8 billion quarters. That's right, over 1.8 billion coins flooded into the American economy. This was a massive production effort. No mint marks, no silver, just new, hard-working clad quarters meant to keep commerce flowing. Because of this huge production, most 1965 quarters aren't considered rare. You can still find them in pocket change today. But there are exceptions. And this is where the story gets even more interesting. You see, not all 1965 quarters are created equal. During the transition from silver to clad coinage, some errors slipped through the cracks. A few rare 1965 quarters were accidentally struck on silver planchets, leftover blanks from 1964. These coins should not exist. And yet they do. Imagine this. You're sorting through old coins and come across a 1965 quarter. You check the edge. Instead of the typical copper-colored stripe, it's solid silver. You weigh it, and it's heavier than a regular clad quarter. You might be holding one of the rarest transition-era coins in U.S. history. Only a small number of these 1965 silver quarters are known to exist. They're highly sought after by collectors and can sell for thousands of dollars at auction. One sold for over $7,000. Another sold for more than $12,000. That's the kind of surprise that makes coin hunting so exciting. The possibility that a common-looking coin could be worth a small fortune. Even among clad quarters, there are variations that intrigue collectors. For example, some 1965 quarters have stronger strikes or better luster because they were struck earlier in the production process. Others might show signs of die doubling or unusual planchet defects. Collectors love these quirks because they tell a story. They reveal the history and humanity behind the machines. For collectors, the 1965 quarter offers endless fascination. It's easy to find, yet full of secrets. It's common, yet occasionally rare. It's historical, yet still modern. Whether you're just getting started in numismatics or you're a seasoned collector, the 1965 quarter is a must-have.